Well, Alex, I met you like 2 days ago.
Indeed.
But I actually know you a lot longer. I was a user of your Freeframe plugins.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, back in the days.
Oh, they're still going, they're still selling.
It's amazing. Freeframe is still going, huh?
Yeah.
How did it came like this Freeframe thing?
It was, I mean, I was VJ'ing I started VJ'ing about 2000. And this was before graphics cards. This was, sort of non-accelerated. No, it was digital, but it was non-accelerated digital.
And what platform did you use?
It was Windows, and I was using a program called Visual Jockey, which is.
I know the guy.
Yeah. There's Joshua.
Joshua.
And so it was all really low resolution by today's standards. It was like 320, 240. Video, and I really liked the real-time nature of it. So the idea that I could write a visual effect that day, and then go to a club and perform with it that night was just amazing to me.
And you say you wrote like you knew of programming already.
I've been programming since like 8 years old. It's like 35 years ago. It's a long time.
And you were doing visual stuff, or was it
Always,
like? So basically, Visual Jockey just gave you some platform to work on. It was like some way to have your plugins.
Yeah, I like the modular design. I like the way that you could build up your own sort of ideas I just found it. I mean, I'd been outside in the sort of wilderness in a way for many years because I've been doing web stuff, and I've been doing, I didn't want to do all that, I sort of studied art and computer science, and but it was a bit too out there for most people, and so they were like, you're good at programming, so get a job.
So 95, you started doing like web programming?
Yeah, web programming and so PHP and Perl.
And what was it like? Visual Jockey and the guys were the first thing that you saw, like this is real live video, we can do it.
It was the real time nature that I really enjoyed. It was the taking all this sort of digital stuff and putting it into a different environment. So it was like to go to clubs and actually do real time performance, but with code. It was and all this crazy bunch of guys, guys and girls, that were doing this stuff and were really at the time driving forward what could be done. Digitally, real-time performance. It was a really exciting time then. The people were just coming up with some crazy ideas, and both aesthetically and technologically, and the idea of this sort of crossover with other cultures outside of just the digital world.
But in that time, when I still see VJs, you were basically working for the DJ in a way, no? Or you were like in some subcategories.
Well, this is why I don't do VJing anymore, because it's. I mean, myself and many other VJs. I mean, you have no idea, unless you've actually sort of done it, how much work these guys and girls put into it. And
yeah, because basically everyone builds his own set.
Oh, it's crazy.
Like a DJ, you can just come with your crate. You have the decks everywhere.
These people are sort of, they're out there. They're making these whole sets, and then they go out and perform them, and they don't get the credit that they deserve. And I always think that. I always think it's quite sad because the amount of effort and creativity that it takes to do all this.
Yeah.
So I felt like that. I was doing lots of clubs, and I was doing and I'd be up doing 4-hour, 6-hour sets, and people only watch it for the first hour, and then they're more interested in girls, guys. It's fair enough, So I thought, well, what if you took it outside of the club, and what if you took it into public realm, if you took it into art galleries, if you took it into, and use all those skills and all those ways of doing stuff, but people actually come to see the work.
So when you move from a club to a gallery, what changes basically?
Well, I went from a club to outdoors. So I did public art outside, and I used the projector to project on statues and buildings and
That's like the infant times of projection mapping, basically.
yeah. This is like 2007 or so. I started video mapping and it was just fascinating to get away from the screen. It was fascinating to sort of put it into a different context, and people would actually come and actually look at the stuff I was doing, which is and then you'd have discussions about the work, and it's really transformative to project light onto objects, to control it in real time.
Well, what's like why real time? Why not have it baked?
That particular aspect really interests me because it's the one thing that sets it apart from video art. It's the one thing that sets it apart from any pre-recorded or pre-made art or media, is the real-time control over it. Is that's inherently digital, is inherently sort of I like that conversation, I like making interactive artwork, so it's the conversation between the artist and the person who's viewing the artwork, and I can feed back and he can feed in.
So basically you took your deck, like your set from the club, into an art scene, into
elements of it. It wasn't obviously it's not the same, because then I'm sort of cutting it to music, and I'm sort of, there's lots of flashy stuff, and I tend to go far slower, and so it's because it slows people down, and you spend time looking at your environment and experiencing it in a new way.
And you were still in 2007. What platform were you using? Like what?
Always my own. It was. I realised that I needed to write my own software for doing video mapping and all these things. So I spent 3 years writing this piece of software called Patchbox, which was very, very, very powerful in terms of what you could do visually, and very, very badly designed in terms of a user interface.
Because you were basically the user.
I was the one. I've never released it, and it's I can't ever release it because it's all out of date now. But it's the interface is so bad that only I know how to use it. I'd have to spend another 3 years writing the manual.
I hear
there's a lot better software out there now.
I hear it with the open source that basically you write software and you're passionate about open source, but you basically don't always want users. You like dealing with this user issue is always like a hassle.
It's the problem is you start writing a piece of software and you go, oh, that would be cool, and that idea, that would be cool. So you stick that in, and then you stick that in, and every idea that you add in exponentially increases the way that this thing could be used. And like something like the software I'm writing now, this Fugio stuff, is exponential. Sort of. So to then take that and whittle it down to the point where I can actually tell you simply and straightforwardly how to use the software is such a challenge.
We're back after these commercials.
Okay, we've talked about users.
Yeah, damn users.
No. I any time I release software for anyone else to use, I mean, it's I want people to use it. It's I don't hate users at all. I think anybody who releases stuff wants other people to use it. It's as challenging to write good documentation as it is to write code easily.
Totally.
It's a skill, and just because you're good at programming doesn't mean you're good at documentation. Often you're not. I'm not. I find it very difficult.
Yeah. But it is like I have some like experience with visual programming, so I tried. I installed the Fugio, and it felt like natural to me as a visual programmer. Did you, and I know that there's a split between visual programmers and text coders. and someone like you is basically writing visual programming in text, everything is written in text. How do you see the visual programming as some kind of just the interface, or how is it embedded in the
It's so the reason why I'm doing this, there are many reasons why I'm doing this software. One of them is because even though I would always choose to write software in text kind of mode, I've written the same bits of code over and over and over and over again, and all of these pieces of art that I've been making, I think, well, okay, so I've got to load a video here, and I've got to open a window here, and I've got to load a shader here, and I've got to, link these together. And it's the same code, it's the same code that does that, not the art bit. The art bit is often the 10% that sits on top of the video loading code, which is the same for every project, or mostly the same. And just from my own, I mean, I could make a library of code and open frameworks is like a good example of that. But I still think I came up with this idea of making this into a visual thing because that's how I think about it. What you're seeing is how I think about code. Because I think, I just need a video player there, and I'll link that to a shader there, and I'll do that. I know how to write all the code, but actually I'm thinking about it in a very visual way, and I'm thinking about the linkages between the way these things work. So if I can translate it to that form, and I can write these little nodes that do this functionality, and I can give it to someone else who doesn't know how to write the code, that means that I've just basically, they can now just use them and not have to worry about the code, and that to me seems like a really powerful way of sharing I mean, I always say I think that good programmers, people who like programming, should make much better tools for people who don't program or don't want to program. If we're so good at programming, that should be our goal. To help everyone. I hate the idea that just because if you don't know programming, then you don't get access to all the latest technology. That we're going to leave a whole bunch of people behind, and it's not democratic. I don't like that approach. So I think the emphasis should be on programmers making better tools, and there was a whole thing about the I was going to sell it. I was going to sell the software. I put a lot of time in, and I was going to sell it. There's all these other systems that sell it, and they get their users involved, and I thought for many months about this. I had a chat with Mitch Altman about it, and he was just like, open source it. I was like, I wasn't ready to hear it. I was just like, no, I don't want to. And it was like, open source it, and then it just stayed in my head for months, and eventually I decided to do it because I don't want to run a software company. I don't want to tie users in. I don't want to trap people. I don't want to treat people like customers. I want to have conversations. Like this, and sort of to share. And I want more art. I want more.
But aren't you, even as an open source entity, aren't you a software company?
No.
What distincts you from, because you write the code, you make your own coffee, like you do everything a software company does except have these stupid dongles and all this copy protection blobs and.
Well, if you find a bug in the code, it's not too hard. you email me, you go, there's a bug in the code. I go, well, you fix it. I'm on holiday. I'm like, it's not about, but it's not. I mean, that's just an aspect. It's not, crappy user support. That's not the point. The point is that if you're going to use this software or any other open source software, you can have the option to fix it. You can have the option to improve it and extend it, and you're not in this just subservient role where you're just being like like a little baby bird and just going like, feed me, I'm hungry, and it's a responsibility to a wider community that we're not just If one thing about the whole maker culture and the open source culture is anything to go by, it's that it's empowering. But that means that you also have a responsibility, and that's not just to, have some like company that's just going to like feed you. You ask for things, little scraps, and they feed you. It's like, no, it's time to get involved.
Yesterday I was doing KiCad editing. It's like a PCB, a circuit board, like a software, and I was looking for curved traces. I wanted to have curved traces. So you look on the internet, curved traces, KiCad, and I get to this like issue on the Git. This guy, oh, your software sucks. There's no curved traces. Da da da. And the guy, one of the developers, just made it into a no fix. And the guy, why does you write no fix? Like da da da. He says, I don't fix. I'm not gonna fix your problem because I don't like you.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, that's part of it. I mean, software these days tends to be written by teams, companies. Like Photoshop. It's got God knows how many thousands and thousands of people. I'm like the one guy in the writing this thing. I can't deal with the world's problems and the world's wants and issues, and I don't think it's a feasible way of doing it, and it would drive me mad. And actually, the whole point of doing this software for myself is that I want to make art. I don't want to be a software company. I want to make art. I'm an artist. So if I push all this stuff out in a sort of honest and sort of respectful kind of way, you now have these and you can take it forward. What you do with it, that's up to you. But it's I'm doing my thing.
Did you look, like, we're gonna get a bit nerdy here, but did you look at other licenses? Could you see a license that is both open and also retain some control, or even allow you to make money out of it? Or
I looked at all the licenses. I looked at lots of different models, not just open source. And I mean, you look at a lot of the software that's because the visual programming thing is obviously not a new thing. This has been around for a long time, and there's a lot of different software packages out there which go from completely open source to half open source, semi-proprietary kind of thing, to completely closed source. There isn't a sort of, I mean, there's like pure data and things like this, but there isn't anything that's really aimed at cutting edge digital art, which is completely open source and has no commercial attachment. Because it comes down to what I find, what I feel is most important, and that's the art. And that's the thing that drives all of it. So I think, I mean, if somebody steals the whole thing and starts selling it in, Mongolia or something, I can't sue them. I haven't got the money to do it. So but it's not important. I'm pushing it in a different direction. I get paid for my art, and that's what I want to do. I get paid for doing commissions and projects
so where are you now? Like in your programming phase, you have the groundwork.
Mm-hmm.
You know how the input outputs work, like your basic, how do you call it, a block? How do you call it?
The node.
The nodes.
Yeah.
So you know how your nodes work, and now you're starting to extend, right? You're starting to branch out. And how do you decide where do you branch out?
Everything is designed in this very, very modular way. So if you say you want Oculus Rift support, that's a completely separate plugin. You don't need it. You can just take it away, or so I've made it so modular that if I get some new piece of technology, I can just sit and write a plugin, and then that's supported. But it's if I was just doing it from the point of view of like, oh, here's a bit of tech and write a plugin, and I just spend all my time doing that. It's driven by the artworks that I make. So we did an Oculus Rift artwork, so I did write the plugin that got it working. and then that'll be released, I think, early next year. So I'm on a sort of episodic release schedule.
So you basically have you compile for your own, and then you release when you feel it's ready.
Yeah. Yeah, there's about 200. I can't remember. It's nearly 200 nodes that I've released, and there's still another 100 which I haven't released.
Wow.
Which are in various stages of development. I mean, I've been working on this for 2.5 years now.
So just technical, you work on GitHub, right?
Yep.
So how does it work? You can have semi-private repository?
I have my own private server for the unreleased stuff.
Off GitHub?
Yep. And then once I think the thing's ready, I'll copy it over to GitHub and do a formal public release.
So you have basically 2 Git repositories, and you do like this juggling between them.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of simple because it's only a one-way thing. It's just and I mean eventually everything will be in GitHub, apart from a few nodes which are my own proprietary stuff I use for running my artwork. But that's the point, is you can mix the public and the proprietary, and other people can do that too. So it's I think you need that flexibility.
That's interesting. So basically your artwork doesn't have a license because it's private.
As I say, the artwork tends to be the bit at the top. It's the highest level bit, and the 90% of the video loading and all the rest of it that's not proprietary. That's public.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So just because you've got those tools, it doesn't mean that. I mean, if you want to copy my artwork, then that's not the point. But yeah, so you've got most of the tools that you need to make 90% of my art, and then I've got my little 10% privately.
Nice.
If you want that, it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money.
Oh, totally.